Should you visit Buenos Aires, Argentina? In this video, I'm going to answer that question. This is going to be the final thoughts on visiting this city. I do one of these for every place that I visit, usually as long as I stay around a month, just to give inside information for those who plan on visiting as well. Let me also go ahead and mention that the beginner's guide ebook for this city has been completed. It's pretty much straightforward. It gives you tips, recommendations, airport info, other pertinent info. If you don't want to go through all the videos to try to find certain information, here goes the guide. Basically, it provides a solid foundation for you. It'll help you think less and do more while in the capital of tango. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. I want to say that Buenos Aires, and not just Buenos Aires or Argentina, but just the southern half of South America, the southern cone, I don't think it's as popular or as well known to a certain degree to travelers in the US, where I'm from, or Canada. I don't think it's on everyone's bucket list from those countries. A few reasons as to why may be because of, one, the distance. This city is basically at the bottom of South America. I think Montevideo beats it by a little, but Buenos Aires, if I'm not mistaken, is the second most southern capital. I think Montevideo in Uruguay is number one. So unless you're already in South America, maybe doing a backpacking trip, it may be easier to get to. But if you're coming from Canada, the US, you're basically going from top of North America all the way down to the bottom of South America. And that can be a long trip. Some people may think I might as well, especially if I'm on the East Coast, I might as well just cross the water, head to Europe. Or if I'm on the West Coast, cross the Pacific and head to Asia, head to Japan or South Korea. And again, because many people may not be familiar with this region, they may think, hey, it's South America, it's another Latin country like the rest of them, which is not necessarily the case. If you decide to visit this place, you may realize now why some people from this region will tell you, hey, we're not the same. We're all not the same. Yes, from the outside looking in, there are some similarities with the language, certain aspects of the culture, but definitely some major differences. For example, the top half of South America, I would say has more of a Caribbean, or I don't know if this is the word to use, but like a Latin influence. Whereas when you start to go south, the European influence stands out more. You'll go from salsa and bachata to tango to rock. And obviously they have some other genres, folklore, cumbia. You'll go from rice and beans, plantains, to pasta, pizza, rum, tequila, aguardiente, to wine. And then they also have another drink here called Fernet. But as I said earlier, different culture, and as you travel around this continent, you'll see the differences will definitely start to stick out to you. Another point I want to touch on is that the city is active, it's bustling, it's vibrant. There are many things to do here. And I didn't even come during the peak season. At least I don't think it was a peak season. I would say summer and spring are probably very popular times. But I was here during the fall, and there were still many things to do. I love the fact that there are many neighborhoods to visit, and each one has its own personality and vibe, and you can spend a weekend exploring each one of them. This place is also called the city that never sleeps, and I can see why. And I actually, although I'm not a night owl like some of you guys watching who would love to turn up, I enjoy the fact that at night, it's pretty much like a whole new day. I can walk around, there's still people outside, there's still lights on, restaurants open late. You can get up around 11, 11:30, walk outside, and it's pretty much like a whole new day. I think this is a very livable city, especially if you're someone who works online. You like to travel to places and maybe spend a month or two there. I would consider Buenos Aires an option. When it comes to safety, I do think to a certain extent, I understand there's numbers and statistics, but to a certain extent, it can be subjective. Meaning two people can be in the same place, but feel totally different. For me visiting Buenos Aires, it felt safe, especially compared to some of the other cities that I've been to. I will say though, I've seen many of the locals here, and somebody else noticed it too, but it's like a fashion thing now where people, they wear their backpacks and their bags, their purses in front of them. And this goes for men and women. So I'm assuming pickpocketing, petty crime is a often occurrence here from what I've seen out in the streets. This city, as a foreigner with US dollars, can be expensive or inexpensive depending on how you exchange your currency. For those who don't already know, they have a blue rate, basically a black market rate where you're able to receive nearly double the rate. which can make living here more affordable. The caveat to that is now you have to have a lot of cash on you. I'm sure some of you all watching, you would probably prefer to pay with your credit card, your debit card, and not have to carry cash with you everywhere you go. Plus, if you're staying here for a longer period of time, it can become burdensome to have to find someone to negotiate a price for an exchange, or have to constantly transfer yourself money, then you have to go pick it up. And believe it or not, sometimes it's not as easy because some places may not have the amount of cash on hand at that moment, especially if you're transferring a large amount. For some people, if cost of living and affordability is something that you're looking for in a country, whether you're visiting or you're planning to stay there for a few months, instead of having to go through these things, you may just say, hey, I'll go to a country that already has these prices by default, whether I'm paying in cash or credit card. It'll be less headaches and just less running around. But let's get into the final section, the final point. This is the part where usually some people, they get a little triggered, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and put a disclaimer that everyone can visit. Doesn't matter who you are. And if anything, if it's possible, I think you should try to visit as many places and cities as you can. So just throwing that out there. Now, I just stated that obviously anyone can visit. But I think there is one particular group who should understand what they're getting themselves into. Before I get into it, I'm going to start off with a personal story to better explain what I'm talking about. I've been to Paris before, and I went with another friend. It was a good time. We checked out some of the museums. We tried the macarons or macarones. I forgot what it's called, the little cookie snacks. At the time, they had the French Open going on. So we're like, hey, let's just go ahead and check that out. Overall, great experience. However, I probably won't do that again, at least with another guy. The thing is, Paris, it has a romantic feel to it. At night, you're walking on the streets, you see all the couples, the lighting. They have an attraction, I think it's a Ferris wheel that lights up and you can see it in the background. It just has a very, romantic feel to it. So it's kind of awkward. Myself and another guys were walking around Paris at night with that atmosphere. It felt like Paris was more of a couples trip. And that's the point I'm trying to get at with Buenos Aires. Families, I think you'll be just fine. If you're coming as a couple, perfect. If you're solo, male or female, great. The group that I want to focus on right now are if you're coming like a guy's trip. If you're a guy right now, you're at home, you're like, oh man, Buenos Aires looks interesting. Let me go ahead and call up 2 other dudes and let's all go fly down there for, a week, 10 days, which is no problem. They have nightlife that doesn't stop until sunup. You have the lovely Argentine women. You can eat late at night, drink, all that good stuff. But once you wake up, then what? You and 3 other dudes, you guys are gonna go to a theater together, watch a ballet, or are you gonna go to an opera house? Are all of you guys gonna go and do a wine tasting together? Or maybe on the weekends hit up an art fair to check out the souvenirs and handicrafts and all that good stuff? I'm not saying you can't. And if you're a dude watching this and that's your thing, like ballet and theater and things like that, cool. But for many guys watching, I don't think those are of huge interest. I could be wrong though. So in summary, for the 50th time, anyone can visit. You'll be just fine, family, solo, friends. It's just that if you're coming, if you've traveled to South America before, you've hit up other countries with your buddies, you just have to understand that over here, it's a little different. But with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. These are my final thoughts on visiting Buenos Aires, Argentina. I had a great time here. If I wasn't so much in a hurry because I have certain countries that I need to hit up and also future ones that I want to go to that I'm planning out, I could easily stay in Buenos Aires for a few more months. It was pretty cool. Well, at least not now because it's cold. But during the spring, summer, fall, I can definitely do it. And if you plan to visit soon, check out the ebook, link in the description. You may, or I'm sure you'll find some value in it. Now, let me go ahead and end it right here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you have found some value in it, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Deuces.